This video is brought to you by the fact that I predicted we would get an anime original friend for Asuna in the progressive movie before this trailer went live. God, I'm on a roll with these predictions. The second Sword Art Online Aria of a Starless Night movie trailer has arrived, and surprisingly it has a whole lot of action for what progressive is. Ilbuff, the Chad Lord of Sit-Ups, makes his appearance, and a brand new movie original character, Mito, who will be Asuna's friend early on, as I have literally predicted would happen in our recent SEO Wikia podcast uploaded just yesterday. While the new trailer has most of us light novel readers thrown into a massive wave of confusion with, all of its changes, I got a very solid timeline here for all of you after sitting down a bit and going over the trailer a whole bunch of times in detail. We're also getting the movie in fall 2021, so I'll chuck that in there at the beginning, so if you're just here for the release date information, that's as much as we got right now. Welcome everyone, it's me GamerTurk, your best source of Sword Art Online information, and this is Progressive Explained, featuring Sword Art Online Progressive Aria of a Starless Night movie trailer 2. An introduction for all the newcomers with the progressive hype, of course. This is our third SAO Explained series together, following Alternative Gangale Online and Alicization Explained series. What I do here is essentially provide you all the vital information on characters, events, action, lore from the source material light novels, things that the anime did not convey properly or just did not have the time to, so you can still see the full picture. At least, that's what the usual explained videos are. This is a trailer explained video for Sword Art Online Progressive Aria of a Starless Night movie Preview 2, where I'll be giving some more context to certain scenes you see in the trailer for you to have a better overview, so make sure to subscribe for more in-depth SAO news and coverage. Reminder that while I'll keep the spoilers to a minimum, that still means this will be a spoilery video for those with low spoiler tolerance, although with the amount of movie original content there is in this new trailer, a lot of what I'll say in this video will belong under the speculation banner rather than spoilers specifically, but that doesn't mean I won't be sharing a lot of source material knowledge to tie in to what we see in this trailer. And if you want to jump to specific events that you're particularly curious about in the trailer, timestamps will be in the description along with Amazon and Book Depository affiliate links so you can grab the novels for yourselves if you want to read them. You got plenty of time to grab Progressive Light Novel Volume 1, which is the source material, not the manga, and read through its first half, Aria of a Starless Night. With that, let's cast away the sly foxes spreading misinformation and get on with Progressive Explained. Starting with a massive disclaimer, if you're an active member in the SAO community anywhere, you'll see a lot of caution from the light novel readers, putting it kindly. As mentioned, we have seen massive changes from the original canon in this second trailer specifically, and a lot of us still have Manobu Ono PTSD from the Alicization anime adaptation, so with this many changes and additions in a trailer, it suffices to say that a lot of fans are scared. Me, due to having some influence on others through my channel, however, have to be responsible and thus a reasonable person until shit actually hits the fan. And I also have to add, while the trailer had a lot of original stuff, all I got from the trailer is an initial confusion regarding all the changes rather than any kind of worry. And with a couple more hours worth of thought given into what we see in the trailer, all the pieces are actually falling into their places to create something very promising. Secondly, yeah, most people hate changes, but I prefer having the mindset of shitting on changes if they end up being a detriment to the story. Just like I criticized a lot of things in the Alicization anime, I praised a lot of things too that the anime has changed from the main canon, so a change in and of itself is not inherently positive or negative. How it ends up affecting the story is what leads to those conclusions. And with the additions we see in the trailer, it seems to me that overall we got some really nice additions going on here that reinforce Asuna's character and perspective to the situation quite nicely, which, we'll get into more detail, so let's begin the trailer breakdown, shall we? We start with a quick cut in the real world. As we expected, we are getting some more real life scenes from Asuna's point of view up until the login into the Sword Art Online, and I do expect us to go as far back as Asuna's day at the school before we reach this point, so the real world scenes are likely gonna be a bit longer than a simple 1 minute introduction or so. Though, you know what? I feel forced to point out that boring ass box art there. Like, come on guys, you got Sony as well as PlayStation on your production committee. This cannot be the best box art that you come up with. A simple, full shot of Aincrad would have made a better box art. Next up, we got Kayaba's tutorial with clips from the first trailer playing out until we see Asuna out in the field, with her voice going crazy upon Kayaba's reveal. Of course, her voice does not match this scene specifically, her shock is from way back at the town of beginnings during the tutorial, but why is she out in the fields like this? I'll get back to it in a short bit later in the video because that is a part of a very clear timeline this trailer puts in front of us, and I need to go over some more scenes before I lay it out in front of you. The next cut, however, is absolutely great. We see Diavel going for the final health bar of Ilfang the Cobalt Lord, as you can recognize from his new weapon, while Kirito is trying to warn him with his voice getting drowned in the background. Which you can also much more easily recognize is Ilfang's redesign to be a whole lot more intimidating, but boy oh boy, Kirito's line there, the harsh truth he learned during his first day in Aincrad. In extreme life or death situations, a person would do anything to survive. But in a situation like this, there's no telling what people are capable of. You know, that entire thought process hinting back to his experience with the Anil Blade quest in the first day side story, where Copper tried to monster PK him to earn the prized weapon himself. Remember, Copper was not trying to survive in a life or death situation in that case. He had already made his choice to kill Kirito just to be able to get the Anil Blade slightly earlier with slightly less effort. Despite all the changes this trailer showed, I am glad we are keeping the first day related things on the Kirito side of things. And if you do not know about the first day side story, it is one of the 3 stories featured in SAO Volume 8 Early and Late, so you can get that if you want to read it yourself, links in the description, or just, you know, wait a little bit as I'm currently working on my summary video for that side story. But speaking of changes, we see Kirito saving Asuna kinda has been changed from inside the dungeon into this open field, if that is a change at all, against a large Crocoboss. It's an interesting thing, it may be a change, it may not be a change, but just an additional scene somewhere down the line. I don't particularly mind it one way or the other. Not like the location of the event was of any importance or the monster that was being fought against it, and having more original monster designs, you know, it's always good, especially beneficial for something like Progressive. Having monster variety other than just simple color shifts is always nice, and it does keep things interesting to a certain extent. Next up, we see Asuna grinding against bees, which you just gotta pause and look at that incredible amount of detail for a very quick cut right there, as the bee grind does have a lot of importance in the narrative. There are plenty of examples in the trailer as a whole that shows they know what they're doing with the movie. That gives me a lot of confidence, you know? I will of course point out the other instances that stand out as well, similar to this, coming from the light novels. Also, you can see Asuna is only ever using a single sword skill in this entire trailer, as well as the first one, the one-hit thrust attack linear, which is completely on point. Like, not just the wasp or the linear, just look at the ground right there. The grass is splitting up with the ripple of that linear. Everything brought over straight from the source material has a massive weight to it that stands out. After a quick Kirito cut from when he saves Asuna from the big Croco monster, we see a shot of Asuna getting jumped by a mysterious figure inside the town of beginnings, no less. But worry not, I do have a clear and easy answer for this, tying into the earlier timeline I mentioned, so moving on for now until we collect all the pieces of the puzzle before piecing them all together at once. And would you look at that, another piece right here with our new character Mito being introduced with the words, "We need to leave the town right now." Can you remember where you heard that before? I will remind you, of course, where that echoing sentiment comes from that feels familiar, but we still have a couple more puzzle pieces to collect, so please do bear with me as I take care of everything but this new original edition. The one thing I want to mention, as it's not directly narrative related, which is the only thing that I actually do have an issue with in this trailer, it's the design of the new character. She does not look like she fits in with what the level is currently in the game. She has, you know, nice looking armor compared to the noob half breastplates. She has a fucking scythe as a weapon, where the problem is not that we didn't know scythes existed as a weapon type in Aincrad before, but the fact that she actually has one day one, along with a 5-hit sword skill for it, which is pretty much impossible to have. not just on floor 1 but probably a couple more floors to come. I could chalk it up to the anime taking liberties just to make things look cool, you know, they do that quite often. But that argument does not particularly work when she's standing out so much compared to all the others. Like, if you suffer from the main character syndrome more than the actual main characters, that's kind of a sign of something going wrong in the concept art phase for your character. But anyways, my only complaint about the trailer out of the way, we got some quick shots of the boss meeting in Tolbana, but then another piece of the puzzle regarding our new character. Doesn't matter whether you're a beta tester or not, you know what kind of a person she is, you're the only one who does. Obviously this entire thing from Kirito is referring to Mito, and this is also the scene where in the previous trailer Asuna states, "We were always together." Again, continue to keep all those puzzle pieces in your pocket for now. And with that we go back to the boss room, and I do wanna say a few words for Chad Fang the Swole Lord. I absolutely love his redesign. Yeah, you know, I like this original design too, it was nostalgic, it was iconic for the series, but there's an important piece of information that everyone usually glosses over when it comes to these kinds of bosses. SAO time and time again states how much of a psychological challenge it is to fight larger than life bosses in Full Dive due to how real everything is, how they feel, how they look. The way SAO puts you into these situations is literally your measly body facing against these incredibly intimidating bosses, so much so that people regularly run away from combat in these situations or get scared shitless that they can no longer control their avatars properly. Old Ilfang was, yeah, it was scary too, sure, it was a big thing that was doing scary screeching sounds waving around a sharp object, but when you looked at it, it did not have that, you know, the real intimidating factor, so to say. I don't exactly know how to put it, but you know, it was a big thing that you'd be scared from, but that was it. Look at Mr. Chad Fang the Swole Lord, for God's sake. Now that's a boss that will get you scared shitless. Even looking at it from a distance, damn straight I don't want to ever get close to this abomination. I don't even want to imagine seeing it from a distance. Like, goddamn, that is beyond intimidating on a psychological level. This thing will rip you and all your loved ones apart, escape the game and go after your family and friends. This redesign absolutely 100% sells that psychological aspect of having to fight a boss in Sword Art Online, and I absolutely love it. This is indeed a boss that only a select few can actually have the balls to face head on. But yeah, we see some more boss shots here and there and Asuna ripping through stuff, and the highlight of this trailer for me, Asuna drawing her wind flurry. That is animated masterfully with all the weight you would expect from such a pivotal moment for Asuna. This is her first proper weapon that she gets attached to emotionally, which appears to be further solidified with the added Mito narrative we have, the way she, you know, draws it out of his sheath and, you know, let's take it down together, referring to the wind flurry. And yes, this is exactly the point where we bring out our puzzle pieces. My initial theory was that Mito would be very similar to Copper for Kirito, someone who would earn the trust of Asuna early on and then try to bait them and monster PK them, leading to her own death and causing Asuna to blame herself for it. But the more and more pieces we collected, the clearer the timeline became, and of course who Mito actually is. Let's start from the beginning. The first time we see Mito is when she's jumping over Asuna in the town of Beginnings, the mysterious figure that you'll remember. You may be asking why she looks so different than the other shots, as if, you know, she has an entirely different design, which is a valid question until you realize she does indeed have a different design. Remember the first day of Aincrad? This scene is right when Asuna logs into the game around 1 PM. You see her checking her hand, then the camera turns to reveal she's right in front of the central monolith in the middle of Town of Beginnings, and that is exactly where she gets jumped by Mito like this, who has a completely different design, because Kayaba's tutorial did not yet take place within Aincrad. There is still around 3 hours until Kayaba overwrites everybody's avatars into their real looks. So at this point in time, Mito retains her game avatar rather than having her real life body. But then, let's go a bit deeper. Why is she jumping over Asuna seemingly at random? There's the ethics code in SAO. You cannot just randomly jump over someone and expect to not get punished. But Mito knows Asuna will not do anything to her, specifically because Mito knows her personally. You see, Asuna did not create a custom avatar, so she just appeared as herself, a dead giveaway for any other player who may know her from real life. So, let's say a schoolmate of hers were to log in around the same time as her right after school was over when they got home, that person would be placed in the exact same area and would easily be able to recognize Asuna at a glance. And that's exactly what's happening here, of course. That's also why earlier in the video I said I expect the movie to begin earlier that day in real life, as early as during Asuna's time at school. We will not be meeting Mito for the first time in SAO, we'll first get to know her at Asuna's school. And that is also exactly why Kirito says what he says. You know what kind of a person she is, you're the only one who does. Asuna is the only one who really knows the real Mito from real life, compared to all the other people who may know her in the game. And more than anyone, it is Kirito who knows people put up a mask and hide away their real self here online. But it doesn't end there. Kirito implies Mito was a beta tester, which easily explains her skill as well as composure in this scene right after the tutorial, urging Asuna to get stronger and move forward together. In the 30-second trailer, there's also an additional line from Mito stating she will never let Asuna be killed, further highlighting her determination to protect Asuna. However, Mito seems to find herself in the same position as Kirito when he had to abandon Klein. Asuna is a complete newbie to not only Aincrad, but gaming as a whole, so it appears Mito quickly recognizes that trying to get Asuna stronger only puts Asuna more in danger than she needs to be, and parts ways with her to protect her, which puts Asuna back into the town of beginning, spending 2 weeks inside an inn crying and thinking about what to do, of course, while we also see Mito being broken about the decision she had to make to protect her friend. And again, this further ties into what we heard from Asuna in the previous trailer, talking about how they were always together. If you checked my previous explained, we were a bit confused when we heard that line back then, and interpreted as a tease for what would later come in Floor 2 with Rondo of a Fragile Blade. But with the Mito narrative, now that we know, it's perfectly clear. They were together for all this time, literally back in real life as school buddies. Then they played together and had fun for a bit in Aincrad 2, so here Asuna was basically questioning why Mito had abandoned her all of a sudden with no proper explanation. And ironically, well, probably not ironically, it's definitely on purpose, that is quite the harsh question to ask Kirito, which gets me really excited to see his full response. Sure, the part of his answer, probably the end of it, we see it in this trailer, but goddamn, that question must have crushed the poor guy's heart at first. He most certainly knows exactly how Mito felt, as he felt the exact same thing towards Klein and Furin Kazan in the first day. If I bring them along, I'll probably cause them to die, so it's better to abandon them right here and there, and just live with the guilt for years to come. That's the exact situation Kirito is in, and of course that is exactly what Mito lived through as well. What he lived with Klein on that first day, it's the exact mirror to Mito and Asuna dynamic is going for in this scene. And that is why I don't think the addition of Mito is particularly a troublesome addition to Progressive, whether she dies against Ilfang or continues to be a side character in the series. Because whether she survives or not, she certainly does not have the face to look at Asuna for at least a couple dozen floors, much like Kirito couldn't look at Klein for that long. In fact, if anything, this entire narrative, drawing a perfect parallel to Kirito's circumstances, it's only getting me more excited. That makes me want to see what will become of it, It certainly appears to be an addition that really goes in depth about Asuna's perspective to everything that is present in Aincrad. And aside from that initial confusion when we first saw the trailer, pretty much all light novel readers in SAO Wikia have turned to a much more favorable and optimistic attitude towards what we got in our hands right now, which is certainly good to see. Yeah, we did not get to see Argo in the trailer, but it's not like we had to. The trailer really had a solid theme going to tease this entire Asuna Mito dynamic, and it did a wonderful job at that. I could tell you 50 other scenes that I would love to have in this trailer, but with this trailer theme, or more specifically the narrative the trailer is going for, we didn't need a randomly inserted character who has no direct connection to the personal struggle here. It was a trailer between Asuna and Mito with drawing direct parallels to Kirito's circumstances. For what they wanted to emphasize here, Argo simply had no place, but don't worry, she'll have her place elsewhere, you just gotta be patient. She is indispensable to Progressive, she ain't going anywhere, you don't need to be scared. But that's the end of this Progressive Explained. If you have questions that you feel like were not answered in the video, do ask them below in the comment section with hashtag AskGamerTurk to be featured in a Progressive Q&A video. If your question is regarding the future, please add a spoiler warning and give it a couple blank lines to push spoilers away. And no, I will not answer spoiler questions for the sake of spoilers like, is Kirito gonna kill Mito? If you're that curious for spoilers, just read the books. Amazon and Book Depository links are in the description. And of course, if you made it this far, comment sword skill linear to let me know. But if you enjoyed this explained, please do leave a like. If you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell icon for more in-depth coverage of SAO. My summary video for the first day side story that acts as a prequel to Progressive will be coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter for the fastest news possible. 50k subscriber special merch, among others, are available on my Spring page. A huge thanks to all my patrons and channel members as always, and until next time, stay cool.